It's time to finish designing our CPU's hardware. Today, we'll be adding a boot ROM to make our CPU's programs persist even when powered off. Hello everyone, my name is Mike and you're watching Polymath Unlimited. In this series, we are building a Logisim simulation of an 8-bit CPU with the following design goals in mind. First, the CPU should be simple enough to make a physical build practical. Second, the CPU should be capable of complex operations. And third, the CPU should be easy to program. In the last episode, we learned about memory-mapped I/O, and we added a console display and a keyboard to our computer. In this episode, we will be putting the finishing touches on our computer's hardware by adding a boot ROM. This isn't strictly necessary, and our Logisim simulation will run perfectly fine without it. However, when we eventually do build this CPU for real, a boot ROM will be a very nice feature to have. ROM stands for read-only memory. This means that we can read values from this memory, but we can't write values to it. So you might be wondering, why even bother with this at all? Isn't a memory that we can't write to kind of useless? Well, yes and no. Our CPU already has 64 kilobytes of RAM, which it uses to store program instructions and data. This is fine for the purposes of our Logisim simulation. However, this will present some problems for the physical build. The biggest problem is that a real RAM chip is volatile. This means that once you turn the system off, any information stored in RAM is lost. I ran headlong into this issue when I built my subleq CPU over last summer. This CPU was a great testbed kind of project, and it did result in a fully functional scratch-built computer. However, the only memory it had was RAM, which meant that every time I unplugged the computer, I had to manually reprogram it again from scratch the next time I plugged it back in. This was pretty inconvenient to do, since in order to program that computer, I had to manually input the machine code instructions into RAM 1 byte at a time. This made running even very simple programs on that computer quite tedious and prone to human error. A boot ROM will solve this problem to a large extent in the Chameleon CPU, by giving our programs a place to live when the system is not under power. Most ROMs are non-volatile, which means that the data they contain gets retained even when there is no power. So what we want to do is store our programs in ROM, and then when our computer starts up, we will load the contents of ROM into RAM. Our program will then execute from RAM just like it did before. Because the contents of ROM persist through power cycles, we will only need to program the computer once anytime we want to run a new program, instead of having to reprogram it every time we turn it on. So now the question is, how exactly do we implement this boot ROM architecture? Well, it's actually probably simpler than you would think. We already have a program counter, which will let us loop through the address space. So let's add a couple of SR latches above the program counter. These latches will allow us to toggle between boot mode and run mode. This first latch will take input from both the clock line and the program counter's carry-out signal, and it will output to the second latch. This means that when the CPU is in boot mode, once the program counter has finished looping through all the addresses, the second latch will turn off and the computer will automatically enter run mode. To enter boot mode, we'll add a new boot button and put it next to the reset button. We'll OR the boot signal with the reset signal, and then the boot signal will get used as input for the second latch we added earlier. The reset button will get passed up to the second latch as well, enabling us to exit boot mode early if we want by pressing reset. We'll add another OR gate after the reset button and bring down the output of the first latch, which will automatically reset the computer once the boot sequence is finished. Now we can enter boot mode, and the CPU will automatically begin looping through addresses using the program counter. Let's add our boot ROM now so we can load programs from ROM into RAM during the boot sequence. The select line of the ROM will get connected to the output of the second latch, making it so that this ROM is only active during the boot sequence. That output will also get inverted and connected to both the done and write gates in the instruction decoder. This inverted output will also get connected to the RAM's glue logic in such a way as to disable RAM reads during the boot sequence. And just like that, our boot ROM should now be working. Let's test it out by copying the machine code from the typewriter program we wrote last time into the boot ROM. When we hit the boot button, we should see that the program has been loaded into RAM. If we wait a couple of minutes for the boot sequence to finish, the machine should enter run mode automatically. Or if we want to enter run mode before the boot sequence is finished, we can simply push reset. Well, it's official. We have completed the hardware level design work on our custom CPU. I have added a new repository to my GitHub, and have posted the Logisim file for my CPU there, as well as the assembler we wrote a couple episodes ago. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to play around with it. Unfortunately, I don't actually have enough transistors right now to start building this CPU, since I used most of the transistors I had to build my subleq CPU last summer, and it may be a while before I can afford to buy more. That won't stop me from making more content though. Over the next few episodes, we'll write some more complicated programs to showcase what this CPU can do. If you have any ideas for programs you want to see this machine run, let me know down in the comments. If you're just itching to see me build this processor out of real transistors, you can support me directly by becoming a channel member. I just recently launched memberships on my channel. I don't want anyone to feel pressured into becoming a member. My goal is to provide all of my content to all of my viewers for free. But the option is there if you feel so inclined. Thanks to all of my subscribers, you play a large role in making this content happen. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.